It's been a huge turnaround in momentum in the last 24 hours, I'll tell you that much. It was all started when Trump actually gave Ross Ulbricht a full pardon. This is like the first photo taken out of him when he actually walked out of prison after serving, I think, something like 13 years, which is absolutely crazy. It's not about the release from prison, it's about what this actually symbolizes. And Trump didn't stop there. He continued to show that he is very, very, very serious about the promises that he made to the United States and the promises that he made to crypto. A few hours after that, he also, the SEC also launched a crypto task force, which is going to be led by someone who is very, very, very pro-crypto, Commissioner 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗪, who's actually been on our show many, many, many times. And I think that what's happening in the United States now is that we're now hearing that Trump is very, very, very serious about his promises. And then that wasn't where it ended yesterday. There were also a whole lot of AI announcements, which drove the crypto AI sector up. So I think what we should do today is let's look at all the announcements that Trump made yesterday. Let's look at what the effects they're going to have on crypto are. And then specifically, let's dig into the AI sector. There are a couple of tokens in the AI sector that I really want to spend some time on because I think you got to be in AI. And I think that the tokens that I'm going to talk to you about today haven't yet run. And I'm going to show you at the end, I'm going to show you two very, very low cap ones under $10 million, which I think if you get into now, I think you may actually make a lot of money. Also very, 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 very high risk, as you know. So if that sounds good to you, then you know what to do, right? What should they do? You want to be a host, so tell them, what should they do?
Like,
subscribe, and let's start the show. All right, welcome back. What a great day. The momentum has finally turned. Remember yesterday when we were here, we said that Trump had to pardon Ross Ulbricht. Or actually what we wanted him to do was to commute Ross Ulbricht's sentence. And we actually got more than what we bargained for. So not only did we get it, but he actually gave Ross Ulbricht a full pardon, which is better than just commuting his sentence. He gave him a pardon, which kind of means that he has no black mark or no black stain along the way. Now, you may say that, well, first of all, for those of you who don't know who Ross Ulbricht is, let's give a little bit of a history lesson just for those who are not in touch. So this is Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht has been in jail, I think, for about 13 years. And the reason why he did that was because he started a website in the early days of Bitcoin. Ross Ulbricht actually started a website called Silk Road. Now, what Silk Road was, it was a platform where you could buy a whole lot of illicit things. You could buy drugs, you could buy guns, you could do a whole lot of stuff on Silk Road. And the way that people actually paid for this was they actually paid in Bitcoin. And it was one of the first real use cases for Bitcoin, right? It was like one of the first real use cases in the world for Bitcoin was to be able to use it on Silk Road. Anyway, the judge basically, when he was sentenced, the judge basically put him in jail for, I think, 2 lifetimes plus like 40 years or something like that. And so he thought he would never, ever get out. And I must say, I've seen his mom going to a whole lot of crypto conferences and for many years. And when she's at the crypto conferences, she's always been petitioning for people to free Ross and free Ross. And I must say, I always looked at her and, every year when I saw her, she got a bit older. She got a bit more worn down. You could see it in her face. And I remember I kept looking at her and thinking, I'll obviously sign the petition and I'll help you as much as I can. And I actually interviewed her on some of my shows. But I always thought to myself, there's not a chance in hell that that the Biden administration was ever going to pardon Ross Ulbricht. And I can just imagine what this mom must be feeling after 13 years of thinking that she's lost her son, but never, ever giving up. Literally, she never gave up. She was tirelessly at all the conferences. She had like a small table, we just said free Ross, and you had to go there and you had to sign a petition. I kept signing, but I kept thinking to myself, there's absolutely no way that Ross is ever going to be freed. And here we are today. Ross is freed, and it sent a massive signal to the crypto world and to the world at large that Trump is actually serious about his promises. Now, one thing that I actually want to play you guys is that, at one of the crypto conferences that we went to, they actually got a phone call to Ross Ulbricht's cell, and you can actually listen to a little bit of it.
From prison, from a maximum security federal penitentiary.
We don't have much time together today, and I don't know if I'll get another chance to talk to you like this. I'll say as much as I can, but when it's time to go, I'll have to hang up and go back to my cell. I have lost my freedom. That's what I want to talk to you about today. I want you to understand what it means to lose your freedom. But first, let's talk about Bitcoin. I was there during Bitcoin's early days. Back then, Bitcoin made me feel like anything was possible. Bitcoin was open to everyone, right? That's what I love so much about it. It was like it leveled the playing field. When the idea of Bitcoin really clicked for me, I got so excited. I thought, with Bitcoin, I can try to do something that actually makes a difference. And by the way, before I was put in prison, we didn't have all these different cryptocurrencies.
So that's the beginning, and I really think it's on Anthony Pompliano's Twitter. You should actually go and spend some time just listening to that. And I think when Trump pardoned Ross Ulbright, I think it gave crypto a renewed vigor and a renewed belief that the strategic reserve would actually happen. So you can see that Pomp says if Ross Ulbright got the pardon, we're definitely getting the Bitcoin strategic reserve. You could see a whole lot of other sentiment. Strategic Bitcoin reserve seems a lot more probable now than it was earlier today. That was yesterday. Someone here says something quite interesting. He says, do you realize that Trump could never in good conscience announce a Bitcoin strategic reserve until Ross was fully pardoned and released? And the reason why they say that is because some of the Bitcoin that are actually held in the strategic reserve were the Bitcoin that were actually seized from Ross Ulbright on the Silk Road website. So when they closed down Silk Road, when they seized Silk Road and they shut it down, they confiscated all the Bitcoin, and that's part of the US strategic reserve, ironically. So now that Ross Ulbright is free, maybe the road is more open to introduce the Bitcoin strategic reserve. Anyway, it didn't end there yesterday. So that was the first bit of good news. Then we got a bit of news that says that the SEC, which has been obviously very, very, very anti-crypto under the Gary Gensler and the Biden administration, they launched a specific crypto task force, which is going to be led by none other than Commissioner 𝗕𝗘𝗅. One of the things they say in this article here is that they say that to date, the SEC relied on enforcement actions to regulate crypto retroactively and reactively, often adopting novel and untested legal interpretations. And now what they are set to do is to actually give clarity of the rules and how the rules are going to apply. Now, the reason why we're so excited is, of course, it's Commissioner 𝗕𝗘𝗅. She is amazing. She is one of the commissioners that really believed in crypto. She believed in what they called the safe harbor rule. The safe harbor rule meant that projects could start off being centralized and slowly decentralized without actually getting any penalties and stuff like that. She also was one of the commissioners that wrote a dissent every time that the SEC declined the ETFs. She was the one who came out vocally and wrote public dissents for people to see. She was also a person who said that staking must be allowed in ETFs. And so what you are seeing now is that on day one, literally, it was the first day that the SEC was in office, their first order of business at the SEC was to become more crypto-friendly. And they took as a signal the most crypto-friendly person that we've had in my entire time in crypto. So she literally, in 2017, when I was on CNBC, she was the person who was most pro-crypto and used to come on my shows. And she is now running the crypto task team, which is designed to make the rules fair. It's almost like they put like your best friend to make the rules. So that's another thing that happened. And as if that wasn't enough, we also got the courts overturning the sanctions on Tornado Cash. You'll know what Tornado Cash is. Tornado Cash is a mixer. It was a place where you could put money from one ETH address and you could send it out to other addresses, and it wasn't traceable. And of course, terrorists and money launderers used to use it to hide their transactions, right? And so the United States under Joe Biden actually sanctioned Tornado Cash. And today, the court actually overturned the sanctions around Tornado Cash, which is just showing like everything's happening one by one by one. Also, Trump yesterday spoke about his meme coin for the first time.
crypto coin the other day. Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
Hey, you made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
I mean, Trump is a fucking legend. You got to admit, Trump is an absolute legend. To stand in front of journalists and say, well, how much have I made? Like, you guys do the calculations. How much have I made? Oh, that's peanuts compared to what these guys are making. So he discussed his meme coin for the first time, and probably the first time ever that he publicly came out and said, hey, like I did launch a meme coin and I actually did make money. But he said he doesn't know much about it. And when he said he doesn't actually know much about it, the coin actually dipped to $35 billion market cap. But then to save the day, this guy's playing the game. He retweeted, and then the price went back up. So he's supporting it. So now we have a Trump coin at $40 billion. I'm much more comfortable with Trump coin at $40 billion than I was with Trump coin at $80 billion. I'm also very, very comfortable, although I don't think Melania is very comfortable, that she's now gone down to a fully diluted valuation of $3.9 billion and $590 million. Ironically, want to hear something funny? The Wall Street Journal phoned me yesterday. So I get this email from the Wall Street Journal saying, hey, Ryan, we want to talk to you about Melania and Trump coin. So I'm thinking like, fuck, these guys want to talk to me about my views about Trump and Melania coin. So I phoned the journalist. She goes, hi, Ryan, I want to talk to you about your tweet where you said you knew about Melania coin. Can you tell me who you got the information from? And she was digging. For like half an hour, she was digging about where I got the information from. And I just sent her like one way, then another way, then another way. So what I want to do is keep your eyes open for a Wall Street Journal article, because it probably is coming out. And I want to see how they frame me. I want to see if she framed me as like this like insider trader. Woman, you just don't know where to get the alpha from. You got to be in the trenches. That's what I told her. I said, look, you got to be in the She said, was it insiders? I said, no, it wasn't really insiders. It was probably the people that the insiders spoke to. And she's like, okay, but were they chain specific? I was like, no, we don't do that. Like meme coin guys are meme coin guys. You don't get like Solana meme coin guys and that. I said to you, you have to be in the trenches, because when you're in the trenches, people think this is a joke. I'll do it. So that was another thing that happened. Then, another thing happened yesterday, Davos. So Davos is like where all the world leaders and economic people go to in January. It's very cold there. And they go to Davos and they talk about a whole lot of things at the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, right? It's like a big thing. So now there's a lot of talk about crypto and blockchain
it's a really,
at Davos.
really important piece of it. What we see so much on Stellar, and when I talked about velocity
about
instead
Stellar,
of volume, there's so much focus on volume in this industry and how much volume is on.
They're talking about Brian Armstrong. He's talking to journalists. He says Trump is very serious about the strategic reserve.
Twice with President Trump. You met him before the election. You met him after. How serious is he about a strategic Bitcoin reserve?
Well, I didn't talk to him about that specifically, but I think he is excited about it. I mean, he really wants to be the first Bitcoin president. Cynthia Lummis in the Senate is actually, I think, the one driving this legislation around a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
So
I think it's a good idea.
There's a lot of talk. I mean, that's not the only thing. There was So Brian Armstrong on TV predicting Bitcoin's going to go to the millions of dollars. Then this is the part that I think we need to talk about. So, I'm South African. And so this guy is the head of our central bank. And he yesterday, I think, embarrassed the whole country. He was talking about why don't we have a strategic reserve of beef and mutton? He said that. I'm serious. Like, listen. Beef and mutton.
I would have a significant problem with a lobby that says governments should hold this asset or hold that asset without what the strategic intent of government is. Because you see, there is a history to gold. There was once a gold standard. Currencies were pegged to gold. But if we now say that, okay, Bitcoins, okay, what about platinum? What about coal? Why don't we hold strategic beef reserves or mutton reserves or apple reserves? Why Bitcoin? So it's a public policy issue that we should be engaged in, and I would caution against the move then that would say there is an industry with a particular interest in a particular product, and we would like to impose it on society and say society must hold this as a reserve. I would have a fundamental problem with it.
So why Bitcoin reserve and not beef reserves and mutton reserves? Anyone wants to comment on that?
Well, I think that if you like Neil Ferguson is here, he has a great book on the ascent of money, and he's a historian, and so many things have been used as money over the years. I think it's pretty, this is still maybe a new idea, but I think it's clear at this point that, Bitcoin is a better form of money than gold. It is provably scarce, just like gold, but it's more portable and divisible. So you can actually use, it has higher utility, I would say. And it was the best performing asset of the last 10 years. And so,
I mean, that's what happened in Davos. Now, I just want to just quickly touch on this. And if you don't see me tomorrow at the show, I had no intentions of committing suicide. What is that thing? Yeah, I had no intentions of going to jail. Anyway, it's okay. You're not really allowed to. You're not really allowed to talk about anything to do with against Bitcoin when your currency. If you look at Bitcoin relative to your currency, so if you look at Bitcoin relative to South African, since 2020, Bitcoin has outperformed the South African currency by 1,700%, right? Like, you're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to talk against Bitcoin when this is the chart of Bitcoin against your currency, right? You're not allowed to do that. You can't do that. So that also happened. The other thing which happened yesterday, which is positive, is you see the DXY is starting to break down. So you can see, I mean, I'll show you like a little thing. If you just draw a trend, I'm not a very good chartist. I'm better than Josh, but I'm not very good. You see Bitcoin, the DXY starting to break down, which is exactly actually what we thought. We thought when Trump gets into power, the DXY would actually come down. And remember, that was one of my theses, that the dollar would start breaking down when Trump comes into power, and that would strengthen risk assets and make Trump look really, really good. Then, as if that wasn't enough, it was like, yesterday was like the best day. MicroStrategy, the shareholders in MicroStrategy approved to increase the number of shares from 330 million to 10.3 billion. Now, what does that mean? It means that MicroStrategy can now sell more shares to raise money to get Bitcoin. They used to have 330 million shares in issue. They've now got permission from their shareholders to raise up to 10.3 billion. Now, that's 30 times. So they can theoretically, is it 30 times or 300 times? It's a lot of times. So let's say 30 times. They can now get 30 times more or issue 30 times more shares. And they did that by tailing it to an announcement of saying that they'd bought 11,000 Bitcoin for $1.1 million. And so the sailor tracker got another dot. So that was yesterday what happened. And that wasn't the end of it. To end the day off in like magical style for crypto, we had Eric Trump tweeting, in my opinion, there's never been a better time to invest in the United States. Bet on our markets, on our energy, on our technology, and on crypto. Bet on the greatest nation on earth. A nation that has been freed from its constraints and shackles and now has limitless potential. No question, Biden left a mess, but that mess will be corrected in the next 4 years and it's going to be spectacular. Transformational wealth will be created, and I hope everyone enjoys the ride. That's coming from the president's son, for those of you who are confused. And to that end, there were a slew of AI and IT-related announcements. You remember that Masayoshi-san, who is a prominent Japanese investor, he's the founder of SoftBank. He was in the United States, and he promised Trump that he would bring 100 billion. And Trump said to him, look, go back and try and make your 100 billion 200 billion. And he came back and he said, we're coming back to invest 500 billion in AI in the United States. Listen.
Well, Mr. President, last month I came to celebrate your winning and promised that we will invest $100 billion. And you told me, oh, Masa, go for 200. Yeah. Now I came back with 500. Because this is the, as you said yesterday, this is the beginning of golden age of America. This is one great example, I think, right? We wouldn't have decided to do this.
I think so.
This is the beginning of golden age. We wouldn't have decided unless you won.
So,
and yesterday we.
So well, listen.
Agree, we signed to make this happen. Great. Because of this thing.
Very nice.
So we would make this happen. We would immediately start deploying $100 billion with the goal of making $500 billion within next 4 years, within your term.
So you can see that Masayoshi-san and Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is the founder of Oracle, and he's a massive, massive, massive investor, good friend of Elon's, and an investor in Twitter and a whole lot of others.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly couldn't do this without you. It would simply be impossible. AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American. We've actually been working with OpenAI for a while and with Masa for a while. The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20, and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location.
So they're talking about spending 500. It's called Project Stargate, and what Project Stargate is, it's a commitment to invest $500 billion in the next 4 years in open AI infrastructure in the United States, right? That is what this project is actually about. And so what you can see is that there is this massive, massive, massive narrative about AI heating up under the Trump rule. And so all the headlines are starting to be very, very, very much AI related. And it's going to be in the US because Europe is going through some kind of like communism moment, right? Where they're limiting everything. They're the opposite of the United States. They're almost becoming like their own worst enemies in Europe. And I'm sure if you live in Europe, you can feel the change in the tide, right? And so right now, I think that the most reflexive trade in the market is that you have to be in the AI tokens. And I keep saying it. I've been saying it for a long time. Since last year when I left, I said we said that in our top 10 predictions for 2025, I said, look, the meme coins will start dying and it'll become an AI agent and an AI super cycle. And now I maintain that that's exactly what's happening. When you look at the bubbles and you look at the things that recovered yesterday, AI 16Z up 23%, virtuals up 17.6%. If we go to the next page, you'll see AI XBT up 41.65%. Yes, PopCat is slightly up, but PopCat was killed. What you're starting to realize is that the reflexive trade, and when I say reflexive trade, I mean the trade that that drops the fastest, but also rises the fastest. That's the one that is the most reflexive to the market, is the AI trade. And so right now, you've got to be in the AI tokens. And that's why specifically, so look, I saw the cookie was going under maintenance. You've got to be, you can see that the market cap of the AI tokens up 15.75% in the last 24 hours. And that's why in Frontrunners, I specifically said, the Trump coin has sucked the liquidity out of the market, especially the AI coins. To make it worse, it was launched on a Friday when liquidity wasn't trading. I'm not buying Trump, even though there may be some upside. I'm using the opportunity to buy AI agents. I'm confident that the liquidity comes back. These guys will bounce. I bought Griffin, I bought Noya, I bought Alpha, I bought AR16Z, I bought Top Hat, I bought Colin. And you can see that those trades were absolutely amazing. Like we bought this at 43, it's now at 53. We bought Noya at like 30, it's now at 40. So the AI calls that we've made, and I made them on the show and on Frontrunners, so I haven't excluded anyone. Like I really have been quite transparent with you guys in terms of what the trades are, have all absolutely, absolutely pumped, including one which I'm really, really, really looking at, and that's the Grift token. And the reason why I specifically love this token is because I had a call with, I spent the evenings having calls with AI agent teams and good teams in the industry. And I had a call, I've had lots of calls, lots of founders, but I had a call with the founding team at Grift, at Orbit. And there's a reason why why I like this token so much. And I'm actually going to spend some time talking about it today, and why I made a call to go and buy it on Frontrunners. And I told the guys, buy it. And we're up already 50%, but I don't think that this is the high. And I'll explain to you why. So let's look at the reason why I like it so much. The first thing is, I'm sure you'll agree with me that crypto has a usability problem. It's very, very, very hard to use crypto, and it's much, 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 much harder to use DeFi. You need private keys. You need to bridge your tokens from this to that. Do you know how to use Wormhole? Have you ever used Wormhole?
No.
You see? Have you ever used dBridge?
Yes.
Okay, so you see, it's very hard for people to bridge. This is a researcher speaking, right? It's complicated to use crypto rails. Crypto has a usability problem. And so I think the future of crypto is actually in AI agents, right? So I'm not the only one who thinks this. This guy says, seed phrases create stress, address formats are scary and confusing, pop-ups are annoying, security isn't strong enough. Crypto needs AI agents to actually succeed. And I've been looking at a lot of AI agents, and when I spoke to the guys at Orbit, I realized that these guys are actually building something spectacular. And I want to explain to you in very simple terms what these guys are building. So these guys are building specialized AI agents, each which operate on a unique chain and on a unique protocol. So just think about a whole lot of AI agents, each one working on a unique chain and a unique protocol. So kind of think about it like this. There's an agent that's working on Jupiter on Solana, and there's another one working on Jito on Solana. And those AI agents become specialists per chain, per function. Okay, so one specialist on one specialist on another. And what you can see is that this protocol is actually multi-chain. So it's Ethereum, it's Solana, it's a whole lot of, it's many, many, many chains. And they use a bridge to be able to bridge between the chains. So what do you get when you have this? You have a bunch of agents. When you have this bunch of agents, specialist agents, you then create what they call a knowledge graph. Now, what is a knowledge graph? I wonder if there is actually a photo of it or something. But a knowledge graph is the graph or the directory of all the knowledge of every single one of the agents combined. So almost like, think about it like a central database of all what the agents do combined. And so the way to add a new chain or a new function is just to add another agent. And as you add the other agent, the knowledge graph becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you can start interfacing with this protocol to execute any function on any chain and cross-chain. So you could say something like, I want to move $1,000 from Polygon USDC and I want to stake it on Jito and I want you to lock it up for 6 months. And this will all be done through these agents tapping the specialist agents on the knowledge graph. Okay, so that is what they're actually building. Now, so why do we like it so much? Number one, met the team are legit. Number two, I think I've given you the use case. But if you look at the competitors, the competitor, for example, is Graphane. Graphane is doing something quite similar, but they're only doing it on Solana. And they've got a fully diluted valuation of $529 million. Whereas if you look at Grift has a fully diluted valuation of $162 million. If you look at what Daniel Sesta is building, which is Hey Anon, it's got a fully diluted value. No, it's got a market cap of $291 million, which is double what Orbit's or Grift's valuation is. So for me, that's one that I must be honest, I bought a lot and I continue to actually hold a lot. That's one of them that I actually really, really love. I'll give you some others today. You guys tell me when to stop. I've got a lot for you guys. Another one which I love and I took a big position in is called Yesnoerror. What is Yesnoerror? Yesnoerror is a bunch of AI agents, and what they do is they look for methodology errors and mathematical errors in scientific papers, right? So you think about like a whole lot of scientists contributing to papers. There are mistakes in the papers, and sometimes because of the mistakes in the papers and the mistakes in the maths, people make bad decisions that cost societies billions of dollars, right? For example, if you think about this whole seed oil debate, mathematically you could have debunked it if an AI just looked at the maths. Simple. So this agent, whereas it started off as like a small agent, has now started to come out with a whole lot of announcements. Announcements that it's partnered up with a Akash network, announcements that it's partnered up with scientific research centers such as UC Berkeley, announcements that scientists are actually starting to thank Yesnoerror and to acknowledge Yesnoerror for discovery. So what you can say is that this AI agent really does have a use case, and these guys are actually starting to roll things out. So that's another one which I'm looking at. Now, some of you are asking here, would you still buy it at 50% up? Depends how long you're holding it for. If you're holding it for today or tomorrow, no, it'll probably go down. If you're holding it for the next year, then probably I would start buying a position. I'll give you some other ones. Now, here we're going to go into slightly lower, lower market cap one. So I want to talk to you about one called Tony. What is Tony? It's effectively an AI agent that can actually trade, But the thing that's interesting about it is it's built on a new infrastructure layer, which is called Codex, right? And right now, it's, I would say, the leading infrastructure play on Codex. And it is actually starting to achieve results. So like I saw a tweet where he actually made some trades, and he actually, he hold on, let me see if I can find this trade. There's a couple of tweets where he actually landed up making money. So autonomously trading and actually making money. Now, this is much riskier. It's currently the only real play on Codex. Maybe there will be more, but currently it's the only real play on Codex. It's also on base, but also moving to Solana now. So another one which I'm actually looking at now. One which I discovered just before the show, to be honest. I haven't done as much homework as I wanted to do it, is this one called AAA, AAA on Sol. Reason why I like it, it's one of these protocols to be able to set up AI agents to power productivity, but the market cap is very, very low. Like I think the market cap is like $12 million. And it seems like it's an ex-Amazon developer, the founder, and it seems like these guys are doing amazing things. So that's just a couple of agents that I'm actually looking at. I'm also looking at two other trades when it comes to AI. So first trade that I'm looking at is one that you probably know, and that's Grass. So Grass is a token which, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a browser extension that you put onto your browser. And what it does is it uses your internet bandwidth, your redundant internet bandwidth, to scrape the web. So you're going to ask yourself, okay, but why do we need to scrape the web? We need to scrape the web because we need to get data to plug into AI models, right? So if you want to train your AI model on all the data on the internet, you need to scrape all the data on the internet. Okay, then you might ask yourself, well, then why don't providers actually scrape all the data on the internet? Because when websites realize that you're scraping their data, they stop you from scraping their data, right? But if you distribute it across a whole lot of different computers worldwide, they can't stop you because they don't know who it is that's actually doing this, right? And that is exactly what GetGrass is. So GetGrass is an application. This application has 2 or 3 million users, I think even more at the moment. Can you find me the number of users that Grass actually has at the moment? Maybe it's on their website. Let's actually have a look. Maybe they might boast on their website. So they have 2.5 million active users around the world. And what these do is you just plug in the plugin onto the extension onto your browser. When you put the extension onto your browser, it uses your redundant bandwidth to scrape the internet so you can train AI models, right? That is what Grass actually does. Now, why did I take a position in Grass today, just before the show, at exactly the same price? Is I just look at the range at which Grass trades. Grass always goes up to 350-ish, somewhere around there when the market runs, and then it always drops down to about this level. So like this is the lowest that it's been in a long time, to about 1.8 or 1.7. And so I just thought we've probably caught this one pretty early, on the way back up to about $3.50, right? If the market continues to run, and it should, because now there's this massive, massive, massive AI narrative. So that was another one that I looked at. Then I found another one, okay? So the one that I found today it's a competitor to Grass, much smaller, but I think it might actually be a gem. Now, full disclosure, these guys want to sponsor our show. I have to have a call with them, okay? I've had one call with them. I need to have another call with them before I accept them. But let me tell you what they are, and you can go and do your own research. The project's called NodeCoin. What it does is it's a competitor to Grass, okay? It's a competitor to Grass. Basically, what it does is you contribute your unused internet and you earn real rewards. How it does that is you install the thing here. You earn points. The points are convertible into node pay tokens. And it does the same thing as Grass. Now, generally, I wouldn't speak to you guys about a smaller competitor to the big competitor that I actually think is going to win, because I think that Grass has a head start and I think it's going to win. But in this case, this competitor already has 1.5 million users. When I compare the 1.5 million users that these guys have to the $2.5 million or million users that these guys have, I kind of say to myself, hold on, like you've got, someone says put links below. Can you ask Amy to put node pay links at the bottom of the show? We will do it for you. Oni sir, we'll do it for you. Yeah, so this is one that I think you guys should pay attention to. I don't know about the token price. I don't know about like whether or not it's real value. I think it is, given the fact that it's got a $122 million fully diluted market cap, where Grass has got like a $2 billion fully diluted market cap. So I think there is a lot of upside potentially when people find out what these guys are doing. I think that there is a lot of upside. Anyway, so with that said, as I said, I think that Trump has really changed his tune, and I think that the most exciting beneficiary. Someone's actually sent me something here. I want to just see what this is. This could be important because it usually comes from a call group which I'm in. See what it is. Okay, now I'll show it to you guys just so that you can see it anyway. It's not what I thought. I thought it was alpha. This comes from one of the groups where there's lots of alpha. Usually we get a lot of alpha in the group. He says, "Hey Ash, I was watching your show with Run, mate. I've spent 2 days looking for you after I watched Run's video. I followed you in 3 groups. You mentioned you took my balance from $80 to $470. I can't thank you enough. You said you said in the video we could reach for the entire list as you are the master. The list master. Is it possible to get the list of pages again?" So this is in reference to 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗘𝗓. The 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗘𝗓 is a place where you can trade meme coins automatically as soon as they're called on Telegram groups. I guess this guy's landed up making money using 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗘𝗓. Tell Amy to put a 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗘𝗓 link below if people want to use it. Anyway, guys, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, let's hope this momentum continues. There's 2 words I'm struggling to methodological. Hold on. Methodological errors. Methodology. Errors in the methodology.
Yes.
Errors in the methodology. Someone says, "Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Bullish Mike. Thanks for being here, bro." Glenn, ciao, bro. Why is everyone talking about 𝗢𝗣𝗅? Like, is something happened at 𝗢𝗣𝗅? No. Put list of telegrams to follow. You have to go to 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗘𝗓 to do that. OG Banter says, "Well done, Ron." Referral NodePay. Okay, well, just put a referral for NodePay, bro. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, sir. Run for president. No, I prefer Trump. I miss Colin. Colin's great. Colin is probably going to be one of the most powerful swarms out there. Really, I think Colin's going to be one of the most powerful swarms out there. Oh, how was hot yoga? Hot yoga was amazing.
Yes.
Tell us about hot yoga, bro.
It was
there were some belters in the class, huh? Come on, be honest. All right, see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, we'll talk about the belters later. Yeah. Trade well, my friends.